Hey guys, this is Study Guide 20, number 1, 3,310 divided by 5. So I'm going to write that right here. Okay, and 3,000, thousand's big, so I'm going to try to think big. I can't do 5 times 1,000 though, because that would be 5,000 and that would be too much. I know 5 times 6 is 30, and if I look right here, there's 30. So let's try 5 times 600. 5 times 6 is 30, and then count the 2 zeros. So that leaves 310. Okay, so if 5 times 600 is 3,000, then I could do 5 times 60 and take away 300 and have 10 left, and I know 5 times 2 is 10. And then I'm going to add up my groups of 5. So 600 plus 60 plus 2 is 662. Number 2, on each desk, Ashton displayed 14 crafts. If he had 7 tables or desks, how many crafts did Hunter display? So if he put 14 on each table and he had 7 tables, and we want to find out how many in all, I'm going to multiply 14 times 7. So I'm going to do an open array and break apart 14 to be 10 plus 4 times 7. And 10 times 7 is 70, and 4 times 7 is 28. Then I add those together and I get 98. 80 divided by 8 is easy because I know 8 times 10 is 80, so 80 divided by 8 is 10. Okay, write the equation. Connor polled his classmates to see what their favorite kinds of cookies were. 9 times as many students voted for Oreos as chocolate chip. 34 students voted for chocolate chip. How many students voted for Oreos? So if 34 voted for chocolate chip and 9 times as many voted for Oreos, then I'm going to multiply 34 times 9. And break apart 34 to be 30 plus 4 times 9. And I know 9 times 3 is 27, so 9 times 30 is 270. And 9 times 4 is 36. Then I'm going to add those together. I get 6 and 10, so I'm going to carry that 1. So that would be 306 students voted for Oreos. Okay, so we're going to do 45 times 32 on an open array. So on the top, we're going to break apart 45. 40 plus 5. And over here on the side, we're going to break apart 32. So 30 plus 2. Okay, so then in this first square, we're going to do 40 times 30. And 4 times 3 is 12. And then there's 2 zeros, so I'm going to put those on. So I have 1,200 there. In the next square, I'm going to do 30 times 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. So 30 times 5, put that 0 on, is 150. Then we move down to the bottom and do 40 times 2, and we know that's 80. And then over here in the small box, we do 2 times 5, and we know that's 10. So then we're going to add up our 1,200, our 150, our 80, and our 10. And we get 0 in the 1s. 14 in the 10s are at the 4 and carry that 1. And then 4 in the 100s and 1. So the answer is 1,440. Okay, number 6. The perimeter of a picture frame is 28 inches. if the width of the picture frame is 6 inches, what is the length of the picture frame? Okay, so we know this side is 6. So when we have a total perimeter and we have one side, we know what we start with is add up the sides we know. So 6 plus 6 equals 12. Then step 2 is to take the total perimeter and subtract the sides we know. And that would be 16. Step 3 is to take the 16, that's going to be the other two sides, but we need to know each side, so we divide that by 2. We know 16 divided by 2 is 8. So the length should be 8 if we've done it correctly. But we know the last step, since we add all the sides to get the perimeter, and we have the total, we know we can check it by adding all the sides and making sure that we get 28. And 8 plus 8 is 16, and 6 plus 6 is 12, and 16 plus 12 is in fact 28. So the answer to this question, what is the length of the picture frame, is 8 inches. Okay, so write greater than, less than, or equal to make this statement true. 703,897 is something 730,897. So I'm just going to start by looking at the greatest place value. And both of those are a 7. So I have to go to the next greatest place value. And in the next greatest, in the 10,000s, I have a 0 on this one and a 3 on this one. So I know that 730,000 is going to be greater than 703,000. So 703,000 is less than 730,897. Number 8, Caroline makes a small flower garden outside the school. The area of the garden is 525 square meters. So we have the area. If the length of the garden is 25 meters, what is the width of the garden? So we know to find area, we multiply the length times the width. So when I have one side and the total, I know I can divide the total by that one side to find the length of the other side. Okay, so I know 25 times 2 is 50, and I have 52 right here. So I'm going to try 25 times 20, which would be 500, and I'm going to subtract. There's 25 left, so I know I can take one more group of 25 out and get 0. So my answer to 525 divided by 25 should be 21. Now I can check that by multiplying 25 and 21 and making sure that I did it right. So 2 times 2 is 4, so 20 times 20 is 400. 5 times 2 is 10, so 5 times 20 is 100. 20 times 1 is 20, and 5 times 1 is 5. 400 plus 100 is 500. 500 plus 20 is 520, and 520 plus 5 is 525. So I know I got the right answer. So the width of this garden is 21. Okay, 2,400 divided by 5. Okay, this is another big one. So just to start with 1,000 because it is a number in the thousands. 5 times 1,000 would be 5,000, and that's way too much. So I'm just going to start by looking at these first two numbers. I know that 5 times 4 is 20, and 5 times 5 is 25. So I'm going to try 5 times 400. 5 times 4 is 20, and I put those 2 zeros on. So 5 times 400 is 2,000, and that'll leave 400. So now I don't have enough to do 5 times 100. So I'm going to look at those first two numbers. I know 5 times 8 is 40. So 5 times 80 is 400. And I have nothing left. So I just add my groups of 5, and 400 plus 80 is 480. So 2,400 divided by 5 is 480. Okay, Will buys 14 picture frames for $13 each, including tax. If Will has $195, how much change will he get back after he buys the picture frames? So first, I need to know, how much does he need to spend on the picture frames? So if one picture frame is $13 and he buys 14, I'm going to start by multiplying 14 times 13. So that's 10 plus 4 and 10 plus 3. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 4 is 40. 3 times 10 is 30. And 3 times 4 is 12. So I add those together. 100 plus 40 plus 30 plus 12. And that's 182. So the total cost is going to be $182, but the question is, if Will has $195, how much change will he get back after he buys the picture frame? So I know if I have $195 and I spend $182, I'm going to have to subtract to see what's left, and that will leave him with $13. So the answer to the question, if Will has $195, how much change will he get back after he buys the picture frames? The answer would be $13.